Hi, this is Sarah Simmons from NBC The Voice, and you're listening to Dispatch Radio.
Well, we're going to turn our attention again back to Christian and faith-based films for this segment, and we have a great guest with us, an actress and producer that has worked on many, many projects, just wrapped on one we're going to talk about that is called Gracia. We have with us Pat Patterson. Pat, how are you?
I'm excellent today. Like you said, feeling very blessed. Thank you.
Absolutely, and it is a great day, and it is good to do the Lord's work, and this is another round of some great projects and films that you've been able to work on. And catch everybody up on this. I guess it filmed, or is it set in Louisiana, Gracia?
It's actually not set, it could be anywhere. It was filmed in Louisiana, Baton Rouge, and, it's that middle of the country feel. And it is about a young woman named Gracia, who is in high school, and she had come in from California, so we know we're not in California. And she's very spiritual, very faithful, Lord-loving young woman, and another young man in the school who are bringing around the other people, the typical teenage problems of pregnancy and decisions that are made, and the viciousness that can only occur, the cruelty, I guess it's not viciousness, the cruelty that can only occur with high school children who don't quite understand that their words can be so hurtful. And it's her and her classmates' journey towards the Lord. And it ends with a beautiful dance sequence, which I was very happy to be able to participate in. And the director is a first-time director. He had written it as a play. Tom Sims had written it as a play. It had been done as a play. Then he did it, as the film, the screenplay. And they actually did a 2-hour, God bless them, 2-hour trailer, if you will. They basically did the whole film, and then got investors, and then actually cast it with, professional actors and filmed it down in Baton Rouge this past early spring.
I think you got involved here with the producers that were behind God's Not Dead, correct?
The line producers, yeah. The actual, yes, they were involved with God's Not Dead, and they knew how to keep a budget and how they, keep people. One of the things I, as a producer, is you want to keep people's spirits up, because the hours are grueling, and for the most part for independent films, the pay is non-existent. So you want to be able to create a loving, nurturing environment, and they were able to do that. I have to give them credit for that.
You mentioned the theme, which, obviously addresses kind of a bullying nature that is so prevalent, especially in public schools and that kind of thing. But what are some of the other elements and themes there you think is really going to resonate with the audience?
Well, I not to give anything per se away, but some of the students who are not quite in one with the Lord create an environment which gets a teacher, a faithful teacher, a God-loving teacher, thrown out, and how everybody has to make decisions based on that action. Mm-hmm. Even though he did nothing, he prayed in the school. And so there's that theme.
Well, that's obviously one that's definitely dominating the headlines. We've written about very much on the website, folks. We've talked about many of those stories that kind of partners with the show. And Gracia is in post-production. Do we have sort of a release schedule yet, Pat? Do we have any sort of ETA?
I have not. No, I have not. Unfortunately, I'm not a producer in this one, just an actor. I have not heard from them in terms of that. They were going back to work on a documentary to edit that, and then the second thing they were going to get into was this. And I think there was some more fundraising necessary on their part. So I'm going to say probably next year. They plan on having a big opening. They're working with some really fine social media marketing people, which is crucial for especially faith-based films, because generally speaking, unless it's some major studio, of which there are not that many, the cost of print and advertising is so exorbitant that you need to work the social media aspect of it in the churches. So that's where their focus is right now.
As an actress, what drew you to the project? What was it that you really sought out to get out of the project? And now that it's sort of wrapped for you, what is it that you kind of have come away with?
Nisi Davies was the casting director for this out of Nashville, and we have over the last few years become friendly. I'm part of the Faith and Film Breakfast Club down there. I'm based in New York City, but I go down a few times a year, not every month. That would be a little exorbitant on my part. But she just said, I want you to put yourself on tape for this. I want you to meet these people and she knows that I'm working on my own faith-based project as a producer. And she said, I want you to just get to know these people and this, this type of thematic work. So I bless her. I mean, I think she's a wonderful woman. And so she gave me that opportunity. So I was drawn to it to meet the line producer and, and the producers from God Not Dead, and to talk with them briefly, just because in the midst of production, there's not a lot of chit-chatting going on. It's a freight train going down the road. But just to get in on their radar and the producers of it also, who were not from God's Not Dead, to get their feel as indie producers of how they were negotiating, this non-studio system. So that I was drawn to the fact that it was about, my kids are past teenage years, but I remember those years and how one decision could have changed everything.
Absolutely. Let's talk about, I have noted as your next project, but please correct me if I'm wrong. It is called Play Ball, which is an adaptation from an award-winning screenplay. Correct.
It's. I have a feeling by the time we do principal photography, it'll be named something else, but it is a 2013 Kairos Award winner. Now, Kairos Awards are about 9 years old, and they're given to first-time screenwriters of uplifting faith-based themes. Movie Guide Entertainment and the Templeton Foundation give it to these people. And you want to talk about the Lord working. I knew there were 27 of these films, these screenplays, all first time. How do I, as an independent producer, get one? I mean, it's not like there's an agent to call. I was like, and I didn't know. I'm researching, and I'm on the set helping a young woman do her thesis film. Now, I'm well past the point where I'm doing student films in my career, but somehow I liked this woman. I said, one day, I absolutely will do it for you. And I'm sitting on the set, and she's thanking me. I said, no, it's fine. This is what you do. I get an email as they're writing the last scene from this young man saying, I'm a Kairos Award Winning screenwriter. Would you like to see my treatment? I said, no, I want to see the script.
Yeah, give me the whole thing. I don't have time for this. I don't want to delay until I give anyone else a chance. I want the whole thing. Absolutely.
And I optioned it within 2 months. The option agreement was worked, and that's when the first rounds of the first option. We did a screening, a staged reading in New York City in January. I come from theater background, so I need to hear the words. I knew it needed some rewrites, but I need to hear it. So we had invited 30 industry guests, and a wonderful director put it together. We taped it, we took notes, got a lot of feedback, and just last week when I just returned from a month in California on Saturday night, I sent it to Movie Guy, to Dr. Ted Baer. He gave me his notes. Cyrus, please, how do you say his name? Noah Reset. He just finished directing Christ the Lord, which will come out next year, which is about Jesus as a child. Mm-hmm. I think Focus is releasing it. But anyway, he gave me notes. He read the script. And so I'd say another month we're going to have a final script of Play Ball. And Play Ball is about a minister who is in the stages of Alzheimer's, and it's how does he serve his God with diminishing skills when that's all he's ever known to do, and how does he accept the help necessary to move forward. And God sort of throws him a curveball by the name of Joey, a rebellious little boy, and his drunken mother. And this is his last act of grace, if you will, to help these people. And it's his journey to his final sermon as he gives over the parish he built, really, the church he built to a younger man.
Such a beautiful topic to dive into. I know many times when we preach and teach, we're trying to, especially because we're based out of Florida. I'm based out of Florida. Mm-hmm. We're not totally. We have people everywhere, but when we preach and teach, we will definitely, encourage seniors and encourage folks with some limitations and talk about, find your niche, find those things. Just listen to the Spirit guiding you, what you can do, phone calls and greeting cards, things like that. It just means so much to so many people that they don't get them. Now we're in a social media era. This has become kind of a lost art. And if that gets tapped into, that could really be a very powerful thing for you, Pat. Great topic.
And the other thing we want to tap into is the caretakers. Yes. The people that, like in this case, it's his wife, Hannah. It's what Hannah's, her journey of faith to accept what God has given her with what her husband's in her rock. And what's going to happen. What's going to happen and how she comes to accept that she has to have faith in God. That Play Ball teaches us not to fear the ball and to have faith in the pitcher.
That's great stuff.
Yeah.
Pat,
we're hoping for it.
we're kind of in this, we're riding this wave now with, Son of God, followed the Bible, led into, the incredible God's Not Dead, and then several faith-based films that perform very well. Now, a whole series of things. And you tend to work, it seems like, a lot more with some of the independent faith builds. But do you see that some of the doors have opened and some cracks are now in the Hollywood dam, so to speak, to not get vested and not get more willing to venture into some of these projects, put some capital behind it, really try to put some different actors and writers in there to kind of lift up the quality because they can see a growing market and a big thing that can really be tapped into?
Oh, I think Hollywood has absolutely realized the potential of this. Now, what Dr. Bear, we had lunch last week and we were talking about it, he said that they don't know how to do it. That's what people like me know how to do. People that have combined their faith with their storytelling techniques. I mean, I went to TED to learn how to make a better independent film, and he's going, no, you don't. You're an independent filmmaker, but you want the studios involved. I want Jeff Bridges as the pastor. I mean, I want that caliber of talent because that brings an audience that maybe isn't normally hit, to see, and it's not a Bible pounding message at all. It's a message of faith. So yes, I'm going after the higher quality, the higher talent, the studio to get involved, and for people like myself or Cyrus, who's a wonderful director, to get involved, because God has given us the ability to tell these stories. And if we're serving him, first of all, you and I know this, Brandon, if we're serving him properly, he's going to make it happen.
That's right. He'll take care of the details. We need to get out of the way, right? It's funny because I had people ask me, because I wrote my first novel the fall of last year, and it reads like a movie because, like yourself, I come from a theater background, which led me into screenwriting, and I abandoned that once I started having a family and that kind of thing. And now I've gotten more into, the entertainment aspects of things as my other profession. And I said, they were asking, what Christian actors, what Christian actresses would play in your book and whatever. And I'm like, wow, I don't think I'd want those kind of handcuffs, right? I mean, I think you're still worried more about the integrity of the story and the message of the faith that's in the pages. But, if I had Liam Neeson playing the lead, I'd be thrilled with that. Does that mean he'd want to? Maybe not. But you know what? Because of that, it might help his own faith and his own growth and his own maturity in Christianity. I don't know anything about the man personally, and I think that faith-based communities have to find that balance where we want an integrity of our faith, of our representation. We don't want things that are blasphemous, but at the same time, we need to take the handcuffs off with the judgment, put down the rocks of saying, listen, Nicolas Cage can't be in my movie. It's like, what are you talking about? Of course Nicolas Cage can be the lead. I may not be the best actor in the world to choose for the lead, but at least the name brings people possibly to the theater, and or, to be honest, and I've said it many times, pray for Nicolas Cage. He's in the movie. He's on a set. He could, it's a faith-based theme. Who knows what can happen? So, I mean, Pat, this is like the next phase. To me, that's like this is where we are. We're kind of in this place. It's not necessarily a fork, but it's an evolution, and we're seeing that with faith-based. I mean, there's still another. We're going to actually head into the fall. We've talked a lot about those on my show. 90 Minutes in Heaven is more of a mainstream one, but you've also got Woodlawn and War Room, and some of these different ones that are coming out. They're going to pull $5-10 million, but some of them don't have big names, but that's the next phase, right? It's not going to be the atheist-led Hollywood modified version of a film. It's going to be Hollywood stars that are like, you know what, this is going to be fun to do. I'm not going to deal with you trying to beat me up for being in it, and then we, the Christian community, won't beat up them for being in it.
Right. That's right. I do have to tell you, I did live out in Beverly Hills, LA area for about 2.5 years, but came back because my family is here and my first grandchild was about to be born, and I didn't want to be out there. But I will tell you, I was absolutely shocked by the power of the prayer group in and around Beverly Hills, in and around Hollywood Hills, the places where you really think of, I don't know, being sinful. There is within the Hollywood elite a very strong Christian contingency, and it has to be allowed to flourish and to come out. I mean, it's not like anyone's hiding it or anything. It's just that we as filmmakers and actors and all of the above have to just willingly say, I'm a Christian. Now, I don't wear my faith on my sleeve. People know of my faith, and I wrote this recently in an interview that I think that I've gotten certain roles just to be there, for somebody's need, to be able to witness quietly to them and give them like a different perspective. There have been a couple times, you know. Now I don't do roles that I only once had one role I turned down because I thought it was just totally offensive, you know, just absolutely offensive, and I wouldn't want to be associated with it. It just would. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
But, you know, so I totally agree with you. But I was shocked when I lived in L.A., the number of big-time faith, you know, believers that were coming together to worship and pray and learn and study, and then going to the studios and fighting the good fight.
We live our faith. We walk our faith every minute of every day, and occasionally we open our mouth. So like Pat, let's tap into that. You know, you've been on some great projects. You know, My Bakery in Brooklyn, A Cry from Within. I think it's in post. I may not have that one quite right, but I know you've been on also like The Blacklist. I'm a huge fan of The Blacklist, and you know, just take your faith with you. Tell us about a story where you were able to, you know, kind of express your faith a little bit. Maybe even the moment surprised you.
It has to be, and it was a pilot episode when I was living in L.A. called Blood Relative. It's still on. It's like in its 4th season or something. And these are reenactments of family members who have killed family members. You know, I mean, most times the police say you look to the family first, and when there's a murder, right? And these are some pretty brutal stories. And the character I played was a mother who's supposed, the way the story plays out, the oldest son shot her, but she never gave him up. She said she couldn't tell. Although every fact led to that. And that got to us actors, as we sat there and whatever crew wasn't working, to discuss the ramifications of that. You know, as a parent, and what is your purpose as a parent? As I said, I have 3 grown children now. What is your purpose as a parent? And you know, if God is the perfect father, and not judging us as harshly as we should be judged, if you will, judging us through love. What was my character's role in that movie? And we started to talk about it, and one of the, data wranglers, somebody that like picks up the cords so that they don't cross in the wrong way, kind of, just started crying. And apparently she had been abused by a parent, and it was like, this was her. Like, I became her surrogate mother. This was her release. And, of course, I removed her from the situation and sat with her out back. We were in Santa Clarita and just sat with her and let her, you know, talk and then prayed. And she had never prayed. And it was the first time anyone had prayed with her. And, I'm still in touch with her, and she's taking her journey. She's taking small steps. You know, she has no background. She has nobody to help her, but she's found some people to help her. So that kind of thing. Yeah.
Great stuff. And I wish we had more time to talk with Pat, dive into more of her incredible resume, different projects that are going on. We'll have to have her back on. Pat, it is wonderful to get a chance to talk with you. Thank you for carving out time on our show.